LEGO Star Wars The Skywalker Saga walkthrough. This is the third level of A New Hope, Best Leia'd Plans. And yes, Leia'd is spelled like Leia with an apostrophe D. And of course there's going to be more talking that I'm going to be talking over, and if you want to listen to that without me talking, then probably game yourself. The game's not expensive compared to other games. I mean, you know, all the PS5 games and new Xbox games, the next gen, the so-called next gen, are all raising their prices to like $70. Even though the next gen games of today feel oftentimes a lot worse than the previous gen games of yesterday, so I don't really know what that's about. But anyway, this game's $50, and on PC anyway, so it might be 60 max on consoles. It might even still be 50 on consoles. And like I've said before, you really do get a lot of game out of the money for being a LEGO game especially. And it's just kind of hard to complain about some of the shortcomings of this game, or at least it's hard to like get angry at them, because the rest of the game is perfectly functional. You know, I had very few glitches when I ran through this game in its entirety. I think it took me about 10 hours to complete, and normally I'm used to running into either my computer blue screens in the middle of playing the LEGO game, or I get some other strange, bizarre freezing issue where my whole system just freezes because of the LEGO game, or my favorite is when the save file corrupts itself in the LEGO game and I have to replay the whole game. That one's my absolute favorite glitch that I've ever had, and among many others. I mean, clipping through the wall, falling through thin air, levels not completing, objectives not finishing, and usually when you restart the level or restart the game, that all fixes itself. So as far as glitches go, they're not terrible, they are still annoying, but in this game, I haven't had any of that. Everything worked. And maybe that's just because there's really only 5 puzzles to the whole game, but I didn't have any issues with crashes, I didn't have any issues with odd glitches, or really anything that I would complain about as far as stability went. So that was a nice improvement over the previous LEGO games. And like I said, for the money, I'm pretty happy with this one. In this room, as I've been talking about glitches, we need to power up this wall, and then we need to push the button on the right side first to power up the wall here, and then push the left button to move the power over. And we did that, but it didn't work, so maybe, as I'm sitting here talking about glitches, maybe we just didn't do it early enough. Anyway, we did it faster that time, and it worked. Powers up the wall here, and that should open up the door on the other side for us. And then we can make our way through the Death Star, which is yet again more walking. I mean, I don't know why they just didn't add some more level designs, like more traditional level designs. This game is very much, it exists very much in the open world. Like almost all these areas that we're in, you can return to later outside of a level, and that's a little bit unusual for LEGO games. They started doing that in LEGO Ninjago, where they made the open world part of the, whatever it was called, part of the levels. Like the open world were the location of the levels, and I didn't like that very much then. I still don't like it a whole lot right now. But there are some areas, and it's kind of confusing to tell sometimes, but there are obviously some areas that are specifically for that level, and each level has 5 mini-kits. I don't think I've talked much about the collectibles yet, but each level has 5 mini-kits, so it's kind of cool to see those back in their glory, although in previous LEGO games each level had 10, so that's a little bit less. And some of the levels, as usual, you can actually get all 5 mini-kits in the story mode, but most of them you're going to have to come back and free play to get them all. And most mini-kits are pretty easy to find. Some might be a little bit harder. There are some collectible detector upgrades to help you out with that, so yet again, what the heck's the point of a walkthrough even? The game pretty much walks itself through for you. So I don't even know why I'm making these videos, but hey, I like making videos, so that's what we're gonna do. And what else are there? There's challenges for each level. Each level has 3 challenges, and you can view them on one of the screens. There's a million menus in this game, so it's on one of the menus. And you can try to complete them. You can probably, if you take a look at them before you start the level, you can probably finish them in story mode most of the time. Otherwise, you'll obviously have to come back like anything else. And then there's going to be just a million other collectibles that are just way too much for me to talk about in one video. So take a look at that sort of thing. If you're someone who likes going for 100%, you will love this game. And in this room, we need to put up fake Darth Vader so we can get access into the next place that we're going.
can start using the elevators again.
You heard Lord Vader. Let's get these back up and running. The turbo lifts are back on. Let's get to the canteen before they run out of trains again. I can't believe it actually worked. You and me both. Maybe I should be an actor.
And the ruse is not completely found yet, so we can come into here, push the button, and that'll take us up the elevator.
This should take us straight to the detention center, right, Chewie?
Okay, so now we need to free Leia and defeat some of the stormtroopers that are inside of this room. So it can get a little bit confusing because I'm playing co-op, but to free Leia, we need to look at the monitor. We actually need to switch the monitor to a room. And if we noticed in that little cutscene, she was writing a symbol on the wall. So when we switch the monitor to a room, we'll be able to see the symbols that we need to enter on those buttons to free her. There's also some loot boxes here, kind of like Borderlands style. They open up a whole bunch of weapons, and we can choose like carbine rifles or rockets or repeaters, and they actually have ammo, so that's also a bit unusual for a LEGO game. I guess maybe not if you count like the big vehicles. They also have ammo in most LEGO games, but anyway, for these guns, they run out of ammo, and once they're out, you'll chuck them down and you can't use them anymore. And that's a little bit odd. But anyway, we're gonna move the screen over to 1, and we can see we got the triangle, the hamburger looking thing, and then the square. And first I'm just gonna try out some of the weapons that we picked up here. We're gonna defeat some of the stormtroopers that are attacking us, and these ones, they really don't have that much ammo. So you tend to go through them pretty quick, and there's a different firing style to them. Like you have to kind of charge some of them up, and then they fire really quick. Sometimes you gotta push R1 a whole bunch of times. I mean, it really just depends on what the weapon is. So anyway, once we input the combination in the correct order, we can walk into Leia's cell and free her. And then we can finally get down into the garbage chute and fight, I think, one of the first bosses of the game. We may have already fought one. I don't think we have, actually. I think this might actually be the first boss that we've seen so far. So, bosses sometimes are unique, and this is actually probably one of the more unique ones. But a lot of times they're pretty much exactly the same. So, we're gonna at least have fun with it while it lasts. There's a health bar at the top, and we gotta shoot the eyeball of the weird squid thing. And he's going to come up and just kind of try to tentacle us down every now and then. So if we move out of the way of those giant red circles that are on the floor, then we can avoid him pretty easily. And as long as you're kind of staying near the back of the room, it's really not hard at all to see where he is. And you'll be able to shoot his eyeball pretty easily. He's really doesn't have that much health whatsoever, and when he starts trying to hunt you down, all you have to do is sprint in circles and just keep shooting him again. But you're going to have to wait for his eyeball to come out. And here, he's got a silver helmet on, so we'll throw a grenade on there to blow it up. And then we can defeat him. And once he's defeated, we're going to do one of the most useless things I think I have ever seen in a LEGO game. We're going to build the pole that they tried to use in the movie. And maybe I shouldn't say useless, I think this may have just accidentally been one of the funniest things they've ever done.